Hey guys, welcome back to Grounded Life Finances. Allie and Rob back here with you. And today we have a video sharing with you the 10 mistakes people make in early retirement and full-time travel. And the camera might be a little bit wobbly. Don't think it is yet, but every once in a while we hit a wave. Why is that?
We're on a cruise ship right now. So we are on a cruise ship for the next 45 days. So in order to get some videos out, we're taking some time here. We're actually on the Virgin Scarlet Lady right now. Because we do full-time travel, sometimes we make videos from weird places. This is one of those videos. So
it's not too bad. It's a sea day, but there are a few waves here and there.
Let's jump right into this, though.
Okay.
10 mistakes people make. And I think the first mistake that people make is to not have a plan 2 years before their actual retirement.
Yes, and I think this is key because oftentimes people think, well, early retirement, I can do whatever I want, whenever I want. And that's all great. But when it comes to all of the details of doing whatever you want, whenever you want, there are some things that need to be prepared beforehand. And you don't really want to, start making those mistakes that early on.
Correct. So we decided to do this when our kids were going off to college. We had a house that we were going to be selling anyway. And instead of getting another house, we just said, let's just take that check from the bank, put it in the bank, and see what we can do, see how long we want to do this, and we're still going strong. So
5 years later.
But before you do that, you don't just want to get that check from the bank and then be like, all right, now what do I do? You got to have a plan. You got to have, do you have enough money? Where are you going to go? Do that well ahead of time.
What are you going to do with the money? Just let it sit there, invest it, all those different things. So there are lots of things to consider. And really, you need at least a couple of years to kind of plan that all out and kind of set the plan into motion, right?
Yeah, and a lot of that's going to be the things we cover next in the mistakes. Those are the things you're going to want to do in those 2 years.
Yes.
So the next one is going to be thinking you'll never want to work again.
Yeah, it didn't last very long for us. Well, our photography business was still running once we hit the road, but you definitely have to think about the fact that you may still want to do something at some point.
Yeah, and it may not necessarily be for the money, it may be for fun, but instead of doing something you have to do, you'll be doing something you love. So you have to factor that in as we start talking about finances, that you still may be making some money along the way.
Right. Yeah. So that's always something good to kind of have in there, is just know that it's possible to still make more money along the way.
Yeah, we're actually working a lot more than we thought we would be because we do like it, and we're making a lot more money than we had initially planned. And that's why our budget has kind of gone from what we had set to every once in a while now we do something like this, like go on cruise ships for 45 days. So.
Yeah, a little bit of a splurge here and there. All right, what's the next thing?
Not researching and visiting locations while you are still working to live.
It's so important so that you don't just think to yourself, well, that's it, we sold everything, and where do we go now? Where's a good place to go? That's not the time to figure that out. You want to have that figured out beforehand and give yourself options. So take the time off that you do have while you're working and go visit some places that you think might be good or that you're interested in. We're sharing videos here on this channel as well as on our other channels, from the cruising on Grounded Life Cruises to regular travel on Grounded Life Travel, and sharing lots of different places for you, as well as on our Thailand channel as well, the Travel Thailand with Allie. That's me. You can also follow along there as well. And we also have one that's Travel Asia with Allie, and you can follow along there too for lots of different options.
Yeah. The next one kind of goes along with that, and it is to try out Southeast Asia. So I think many people lock into Mexico or Portugal or one of these countries early on, and they never make it over to Thailand and Vietnam. But almost without fault, once those people do get over there, they realize they've made a big mistake, because most people, if they can handle the distance, they absolutely love it, and it's way cheaper, and it's just a great quality of life. So you have to go there initially and then compare that to some of these other places like Mexico and Portugal that are also hot button places to go.
Exactly. Yeah, it's easy to stick to the places that are closer to home, and Mexico is always one that people flock to because it's easy and it's just right there, and you can always just jump right back home. And for those who have, ailing parents, or they're still helping their kids with different things, that's a good choice. But it is, like you said, good to at least try it out before you actually launch with your retirement and full-time travel, because it does come into play with your budget.
Yeah, so if you do want to check some of what we've done there, also, like she said, we do have Thailand and Asia channels on it's just Travel Thailand.
Travel Thailand with Allie and Travel Asia with Allie.
Yeah. I do go there too, but she just likes to make those videos.
It's mostly me running around each of those places doing videos. Just because I do a ton of extra things, and it's just fun.
Next one's going to be figure out insurance options ahead of time.
Yes, and there's so many of those. We will have a video here on the channel with all of your options, but that was probably one of the toughest ones for us because we have been entrepreneurs always. It has always been a little bit more complicated for us as opposed to if we were working for a corporation that was providing it for us. So there's lots of things to consider. We've learned a ton over the last 5 years about insurance and healthcare at large as a whole. So it's definitely something we'll be sharing fully with you here, but obviously something that has to be considered, especially as you're getting a little bit older. You're going to have to take care of some health things.
And that's also a good reason to research places ahead of time because your insurance options will be different in each country.
Correct.
Next one will be having a credit card and points plan. Mm-hmm. So this is something that can save you a ton of money. We have a train channel, Grounded Life Travel, where we basically do Amtrak and a bunch of other trains. And the biggest question we get on there is, how do you afford to take all these trains? The answer is simple. We each have the Amtrak credit card. We get a lot of free rides. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, it's really astonishing how many free rides we get. We talk to people all the time that we run into, subscribers that run into us, and they're like, how are you guys doing it? Are they just giving you these free rides? No, we're actually earning the points with the card. With all of our travel purchases, you time them out just right. You have to have a plan, and that's why we do the credit card videos on this channel, sharing those with you, and we break down what the pluses and minuses are, and depending on if you're more concentrated on high-end flying, on hotels, whatever that is, we cover that for you here on the channel. So make sure you check those out because they will make a huge difference for you, and again, in your budget.
This next one I've seen a lot, and it's people locking into one location really soon. And they'll say something like, oh, we bought a house in Portugal, and they're not even retired yet. And I'm thinking, you have only been to Portugal. What would make you think that that's the best place when you haven't considered the others? So you just don't want to be locked in. It can be a couple of years before you hit everything. Also why it's important to research them early, because after you've hit all the locations, you can make an informed decision on where you want to stay in one place. You may not even want to do that because it is realistic to just go month to month, 2 months here, 3 months there, 2 months there. That's also an option. You may never want to settle down in one place. So just don't lock it in too early. It's going to be a big mistake.
Yeah, for sure.
The next one is something that kind of took us a while to figure out as we talked to other people who were doing this. And it's understanding the type of person you are. Do you need to be with people or do you need solitude?
Yes, and I think that's really key in the overall, am I enjoying this lifestyle or do I hate it? Is there are actually lots of groups that you can be a part of that will help to make that difference for you in if you have to be with, if you are the type of person that likes to be around a lot of other people, it definitely, traveling to the places, as we mentioned earlier, is going to be key because you'll be able to see, okay, are there a lot of expats here also? And I'll be able to connect with them. Or is this like a really remote place and there won't be anybody here and it'll be just the two of us or just me if you're a solo traveler. So it's really something that you do need to consider and you do need to study and you do need to, get into. So it's very important that you plan that out.
Yeah, I can think of one place that we went. It was actually the first place we went, and it was Romania. and we got there and we were, among the only Americans there. And it was great though, because they loved us being there. They had a very positive outlook on Americans. It was a great place. We would go back. But it would be a terrible place to go if you need to be around other Americans and have that kind of group of people. If you just want to hang out with locals, that's a great choice. But that's an example of why you need to figure that out beforehand, because if you have to be with other Americans and you go to Romania for 3 months, you're not going to like it as much.
You're not going to have a very good time.
As you would if you went to, say, Bangkok or, Bali or something, or Mexico for sure, because there's tons of Americans there to hang out with.
Yeah.
But if you want to get away from Americans, conversely, you really don't want to go to Mexico, because they're going to be all over the place.
You're going to see a lot of them there.
Yeah. And the next one is to not set a proper budget. So anything under $2,500 a month is just unreasonable. It needs to be more like $4,000 a month. We have a whole video on budgeting, and there's different ways you can do that. That's the long-term budget though. You can kind of ease into that, but that's where you need to get to, unless your finances just dictate that you're going to be able to spend as much as you want.
Right.
But you will probably need to spend at least $4,000 a month to do this. Now, for a lot of people, that's probably good news, because you're probably spending more than $4,000 a month right now.
You're like, sweet.
But don't set a budget of $2,000 and say, we're just going to house it. Because then you're going to have to do that for the rest of your life, or if you do this for forever, or for as long as you do this, and you're not going to fully enjoy and get out of it what you want to get out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we did talk about over in the budget video that we did on the channel here, is that people set their budget too low, and then you're having to make so many concessions that you're just not having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully this helps you guys out as you start your planning process, or if you're already in the middle of it and you've made some of the mistakes, you can kind of be pointed in the right direction. As we said earlier, we have a ton of videos several videos already on the channel, a ton of videos coming. So subscribe to the channel, give us a like on this video if you've got some good information out of it. If you have questions, leave those for us in the comment section, because we do answer those, and that way other people probably have the same question as you, so that way they can see the answer as well. Guys, we'll see you on the next video.